I'm Krishna. I'm having 10 years of industrial experience working for a global MNCs as a lead cloud engineer and database architect. Also, I'm having a 4 years of experience in a corporate training.
So, hi everyone. Before we start for today, right? So today's is going to be an introduction session and everyone's today is the first class, right? So what we will do today is we will make sure we will understand what is the curriculum today. And if you guys have still any questions, you can ask on the curriculum side. And also today we will talk about very basics. Okay. So very basics, keeping in mind that we have a very freshers in this group. Okay, they don't know the terminologies, or they don't know what exactly the IT is, or they don't know anything. Okay, so let's keep that in mind, and what we'll do is we will go for a very basic of understanding what exactly we're going to learn here and how it is going to helpful. Okay, and I know we have a mixed people over here, people who have a more experience, less experience, and who don't have experience at all. So what we do is we will try to cover each one. Okay, and for more experienced people, so how it is going to help you to switch your role and what kind of concepts we're going to cover and what is the benefits out of our training sessions, right? After that, how you are able to identify the interviews or jobs and what kind of certifications you can able to cover. Our self-paced certifications are, after our training, what you will be ready to complete the certifications. Okay, so we will talk more about very intro about us. Okay, and we will try to see how interactive it is possible. Okay, and I'm requesting everyone, okay, make it more interactive. Ask me any questions if you have it. Don't hesitate that if something is not good or not, no, it's not, you should not bring it into this forum or something. Don't think that. So bring it on. We will discuss about it and we will try to understand as much as possible today. Okay. So tomorrow onwards, we will put more practical. Okay. From Monday onwards, you will be having tool installations also will happen. And also going forward, I will tell you that roadmap of what and all tasks we are going to do it as part of the each and every concept. Okay. Yeah. So now the question we have is AWS Azure. Okay. So this is the question, AWS data engineering and Azure data engineering. Okay. So we are explicitly talking about a data engineering here. Okay. That means you will be you are dealing everything with the data. Okay. You might be reading data, you might be transforming data, and you might be loading data. Okay. And you are presenting data also. Okay. So you can do all these ones. Okay. Just quick question, what virtualization tool? So Sunil, we are not going to cover any virtualization tool here, Sunil. So there is no Tableau, no Power BI, no Qlik, no Cognos, nothing here. Okay. We are not covering visualizations. Okay. I'm planning to learn any data warehousing tool, how Snowflake has an edge when compared to SAP BI and Power BI. So Snowflake is way ahead than SAP BI and Oracle BI, Divishri. Okay. SAP BI and Oracle BIs they are specific to their only areas, and Oracle is only they could able to connect to the OCA, that's called as an Oracle Cloud Integrators. Snowflake, when you go, it's a cloud agnostic that can able to connect to all the famous public clouds. Okay, that's one statement says that Snowflake is way ahead than this. Okay. Hi Krishna, I'm a DB tester. How this training DB tester? So can I get more details? What is DB tester in sense? You test the data, how it is data quality, or you test that whether all the data constraints, data is good and data infra is good, all this kind of stuff. If you want to move it into data engineering side, I don't see your name 1611425. Okay, good one. Yeah, so if you want to move into data engineering side, this is going to definitely help you. Okay. DB tester, I believe you might be saying that you'll be getting incidents engineering QA. Oh, QA, data quality testings. Okay. So data quality test, okay, you will be doing. Okay. Data quality, if you're testing, so if you want to move it into data development side, this is going to help. Okay. Sunil, we have already posted the difference between Snowflake and Databricks in one of the video. Okay. Probably you can go there the cost optimizations and the way how to use, why companies, a lot of companies are using Snowflake and Databricks. If not, I'll cover it in a other session. If or else, if time permits, I'll cover it here itself. Okay. Yeah. So moving on to AWS and Azure, right? So Azure data engineering or AWS data engineering is always a question. Okay. So now let's, how we can able to find the opportunities. What are opportunities we find when we go into market, right? So how you can weigh that there is an opportunity is something, how many companies are getting used this AWS or Azure. Okay. First deal comes in saying that if there are 100 companies are using AWS and 1,000 companies are using Azure, so they should know, okay, where exactly I'm going to find an opportunities when you go into a market. Okay, so something is, first one is an opportunities. Second one is, what are the types of services that particular cloud is going to provide? When I call service, so if I want to do a databases, I want to have how many databases are there? How many kinds of databases are there? Okay. How many interactions? Now from AWS to Informatica, can I able to connect? From AWS to Ab Initio, I can able to connect. AWS to Microsoft SharePoint, I can able to connect. Or Azure to SharePoint, I can able to connect. Or Azure to your Excel, I need to be able to connect. Okay. So how many integrations you are going to bring up? Okay. Fourth one, so integration. Second one is integrations. Okay. Third one is going to be how secure the cloud it is. So when we say cloud, okay, so for more of the folks who are all here, right? So some of you folks already know what is cloud, and some of the folks who doesn't know. So I'll take a chance of explaining what is cloud and what is on-premise, because we are going to use these terminologies throughout our training sessions. Okay. So before I going into third point, as I said, is the security, right? What is security in your sense? When I am talking about a data engineering, in your sense, what is security? Anybody can add?
Securing the data at rest and data in motion.
Perfect. Okay. Very, very straight answer. Okay. What is security? Yeah, at motion, at rest and at motion. So when it is stay at your databases or at your storage levels, it should be secured, or while you transferring it to someone else, or you are moving this into a different tool. Okay, at that particular motion also it should be secured. But why we need to secure this? What is the reason? What is the loss?
If you lost the data, everything will go. Everything the other competitor will get you the business, and he will be make your business low.
Someone can grab your business. Okay.
Also, we can compromise the user data.
Exactly. So compromising the user data. So if I put it more straightforward, people can misuse the data. Okay. Misuse the data. Okay. And abuse the people's. Okay. So what happens when you put all these ones? Okay. So just for a freshers, probably, engineers would have already known. Let me give you one example. Okay. So there was in India itself, right? So we also hearing many times that the Aadhaar data is being revealed. Okay. Aadhaar data being stolen or being, captured by some teams. What happens if they use your Aadhaar data? Right? The Aadhaar data, your biometric data, everything they have taken. Think that what will happen? They can easily, get a new SIMs. That SIMs can be used for a different other reasons. At the same, a new scam also been revealed just now, right? Using your Aadhaar, they can able to integrate with your bank accounts. They can withdraw the money. Okay. There are new scams. So anything your data is getting compromised. Okay. So what will happen is that particular data will get used for misused purposes, and this gets more and more penalties on the companies which are maintaining this. Okay. So security is one major area. Okay. Companies took almost a half a decade to move it into cloud. Okay. So AWS came into the market in 2009, early 2009. Okay. Azure, I would call into the limelight probably from 2018 or 16, not more than that. Okay. So 2018 or 19. Okay. So let's take it as 2016 itself. Okay. Let's take it as 2016. Okay. So AWS was there in the market from 2009 onwards. Okay. So what happened is people started adopting into a cloud. Okay. But it took them for almost half a decade to 1 decade to move it into the cloud to understand what is cloud. Okay. Cloud is something everyone says that you don't need to maintain infrastructure. You don't need to worry that your servers are working or not. You don't need to worry if the storage is completing or you need to adopt a new storage or something like that. So don't worry. All you need to do is sit, relax, concentrate on your business. Everything will be provided by the cloud services. Okay. These two are the cloud services. One more cloud services is a GCP. We'll just ignore for now. Okay. These guys will provide it for you. Okay. That's what they said. Okay. So then for the companies, what happens is if I am putting my data into someone else's systems, okay, someone else storages, how secured is my data? Okay. To understand that, okay, to understand the norms, to understand the risks and issues. Okay. It took to the companies like Infosys, companies like a different banks, different companies, whatever it is, right, who are all into cloud right now. So for them, it took a lot of time to understand really how this cloud works. Finally, they risk to put the data into a different other systems. Okay. Unless they get a confidence saying that how much security they are going to provide. Okay. One major area why I'm saying this is very important. Okay. Second thing is how much experience they have in the market right now in the cloud. Okay. Next one. Okay. Level of encryption. Okay. It comes under security. So someone said that at motion and at rest. Okay. So it's not like you can simply dump the data inside your cloud services. That's not going to help you. Someone able to crack you till the place where you have stored the data, but you should be encrypted the data to make sure, okay, the data cannot be read by anyone else. Okay, encrypted. These words are our normal words: encryption, decryption. That means you are going to make the data not readable to everyone. Okay, so encryption, level of encryptions. Okay, next one, user interfaces. What is user interface? Okay, now I want to do some kind of development. Okay, now I want to do some kind of development work. So my company has into an Azure and AWS also. They have given me some system like this. On this, I have opened over a web. I have opened my AWS account and I want to do some, kind of development activities. Okay, in this sense, which interface is going to help you a lot? I don't say help you a lot. Which interface is easy for you to understand? Okay, are easy to go through the different services and understand, saying that what exactly I need to pick a service and start working on it. Okay, next point, I'm just saying parameters, then we will go into which one provides better and which one we need to choose. Okay, it doesn't mean that exactly that particular parameters, there could be many more parameters when you come into the companies. Okay, so let me capture one: captured market value. So when this will comes to the same place, when I said that your Azure being adopted by 1,000 companies and AWS is being adopted by 5,000 companies or 2,000 companies or 500 companies. Okay, how much market values? So your captured market value is directly proportional to the opportunities. Okay, so if you see the market value, the opportunities are also going to be more. Okay, so next parameter, pricing model. Okay, so pricing model is also one very important, category being considered by the companies before they're moving into either AWS or Azure. Okay, so pricing model is nothing but, so Azure is providing number of services also. So let me put it that number of services. Okay, so Azure is providing 500 services. AWS is providing 500 services. Azure is providing somewhere 100 services. Okay, so each service in this one is going to have a separate cost. Okay, if you go to supermarket, groceries inside a grocery session itself, each grocery is going to be a different cost for you. Okay, similar fashion in AWS also, you have a different services like a Glue. You go for a EMR, you go for a QuickSight, you go for an S3. So there are different services. Every services is going to be a different cost for you. Okay, so in similar fashion, Azure also provides a blob storage. It provides an ADF, like the different services it provides. Each service is going to be a cost for you. Okay, EC2 instances, many services are there. Okay, so how many services it is providing, and each service, how much it is costing to the company. Okay, pricing model, number of services. Okay, and what you can say, networking, one more major area. Okay, networking is also one. Networking in sense, so now my company is in Mumbai. Okay, so somewhere my company needs to use a cloud. Which cloud services I have nearby to me? Okay, which cloud services nearby to me? So when I say nearby to me, anybody can guess that why I'm using the word which is nearby. What is the use of this nearby?
Availability of service and access, quick access.
Quick access, great.
Availability and CDN.
CDN, yeah, cloud data network. So very good. So that's more of, technical term. Yeah, great. So right. So as he's rightly mentioned, right, accessibility is very important. It's not like my data is stored in a cloud and I query now to read the data from that. And if I query now, it is coming after 10 minutes. That is not going to help my business. Okay, that kind of business, if you want to run, you are never going to grab the market. Okay, in that senses, your accessibility, your latency is a word. Latency means how much time, how is there any delay in retrieving the data? That means you queried the somewhere. Okay, you want some data, you asked AWS saying that I want this data. Okay, how fast that particular cloud service is going to get you the data. Okay, so that deals with your networking. Okay, so your networking is going to be a one other major factor deciding which cloud service you want to go with. Okay, so let me think if there are anything else can be done. Flexibility also, you can say flexibility comes under the same integrations and everything. Okay, and you can say services, under services, you can say storage offerings. There are multiple storage offerings we have. So okay, let's have this one. These are the major categories. Okay, so now what we will
one
do.
more thing
Yeah.
I want to add, maybe how future growth, which cloud will give you future growth.
So same thing, opportunities will help you the future growth, and captured market value will help you the future growth. How up to date they are. Okay, how up to date the cloud services are. Okay, to grab the market, and how the people like us who are going to find an opportunities. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So now let's fill these gaps, and then we will understand that. Okay. Which one is better for us to go? Okay. So which one is getting more into the market also? So we will understand that. Okay. So as I said, the AWS is into the market from 2019 to 2016. So definitely experience perspective, AWS have a lot of experience on a cloud perspective. Okay. So when I say experience, failing to provide the data, fixing the issues, troubleshooting the networking issues, having the more availability at a different zones. Okay. So coming back to this one. So when I say the networking side, AWS is being spreaded across multiple continents and multiple locations. Okay. That could be in your regions or availability zones. So regions means, let me give in India. Okay. India is a region. Okay. If we go to availability zones, within India, there are 3 zones we have. Okay. One is in Mumbai, and one is in Delhi, and one is in Hyderabad. Okay. So Bangalore also they are opening right now, I believe. Okay. So these are availability zones. Like this, if you take a continents, through all the continents, AWS is being spreaded across at multiple availability zones when you compare your Azure. Okay. So networking concepts, when you come to the networking, AWS is being spreaded across different multiple zones and different continents. Okay. High, and this is medium. Okay. So to just highlight that, Azure is having lesser availability zones than comparing to GCP also. Okay. Google Cloud also there, right? So comparing to Google Cloud, also Azure is having less networking sites. Okay, that means think that there is a company, Denmark is there. Okay, if Denmark have companies and they want to use some cloud, okay, probably they can find AWS data centers 3-4 nearby, but they might find only one Azure data center nearby. Okay, that means the adaptability, okay, are using the Azure, using the public cloud services, which is always high, is AWS comparative to Azure and comparative to GCP. Okay, so one corner right now, Denmark has only one option called as you have to use an AWS public cloud. Okay, because they don't have a great networking of an Azure or a GCP at that particular area. Okay, one major factor, companies, the reason specific companies, how they need to think. Now my company is a Denmark, I need to think my premises. It's not like I will have a AWS data center in India, I will pass through my network towards all this, all the way towards this oceans and then connect to the India. That's not going to possible for me. Okay, so they have to think in a way that how easily you can able to adopt and how nearby it is to you. Okay, so networking experience wise, AWS very high than Azure and GCP. GCP also higher than Azure, but unfortunately GCP couldn't able to get with the more services, adaptabilities. So what happened, and the cost perspective, GCP is little costlier. Then what happened is Azure has current time, right? In the current time, Azure is getting more and getting near to AWS. So I would say market capture, right? So market capture right now for the AWS is 30%, and Azure is so 40%, and Azure is the 30%. There and here, there will be a slight difference, 0.5 or 0.1 percentages will be difference. So what happened is GCP had little more than Azure at 3-4 years back, but Azure has brought up a new concepts called as an ADFs, and they have a Databricks concepts. So like that, they started grabbing that market right now. Whatever the GCP people are there, right? So they are either moving into an AWS or they are moving into an Azure. Okay, so it doesn't mean that GCP is something like it's totally gone. So GCP also have a market of somewhere into a 10% or 8% of market is there. Okay, they are also into cloud. Some countries like UK and all, right? UK and all, they are more concentrated on a GCP other than AWS and Azure. Okay, so they have, this is the market value. So when you see the market value, when I said there is a directly proportional to your opportunities. So when you see the companies are using 40% of an AWS and 30% of an Azure and 8% of an GCP, then what is your opportunities going to be? Okay, so here also let me put it as a medium. Okay, opportunities, more opportunities you will find. Okay, either the companies are adopting the age of AWS, or either the companies are already into AWS and they are going to, they're already using the AWS and they need engineers to maintain that particular services on a AWS. Okay, so this one is also having increasing. So now from last 3 years or 2 years, I would say Azure is also greatly increasing. Okay, greatly increasing their demand. So now the question arises, Krishna, can this Azure can cross the AWS? Okay, so I cannot predict directly, I would say, down the line of 5 decades. And I would say right now with a confidence that Azure cannot cross the AWS. Okay, because the reason is companies are not intended to move their data directly from a cloud to cloud. Okay, services. So when I say where your data will directly come and save, it saves into databases or data warehouses. Okay, so now what happened is companies are not interested to move the data from a cloud to different cloud. Okay, but they are interested to move their services. Okay, when I say services, where you're implementing ETL tasks, where you're writing your programming. Okay, this and all, now they are interested to move into a third parties. Okay, that is like where. Okay, so now that is like how they want to move it is, they want to move either writing it into a Python in outside, so connecting to the clouds, or they want to move it into a Snowflake, or they want to move it into a Databricks. Okay, they are moving into a Fivetran, different other third-party services. Because what happens is either Azure ADF or Glue or Dataflow. Okay, I'm just talking about data engineering of an ETL task where you can able to perform. Okay, so comparing to the cost these guys are providing right now. Okay, these guys are providing lesser than that. Okay, and the powerness of this particular tools is these guys also can able to connect to these clouds. You don't need to depend on the same cloud providing service. You can have a license with these guys. These guys also can able to connect with any clouds, and they can able to communicate with that clouds and able to do whatever the task you can able to do it here. More than the task, whatever you can do it here, you can do it here. Okay, so integrations are servicing wise, what they are doing is they are moving towards outside. Now, a company is using an AWS, and I would say company is using a Snowflake also. I always had this question unless, 3-4 weeks back. Okay, so 3-4 years back. So what happened is AWS have a Glue. They can do all the work what they can do in a Snowflake or in a Databricks or a Fivetran, whatever they can do. Okay, why again you have to go into Snowflake and make the engineers to learn some other technology full of a mess up? Okay, then we understand saying that they will save millions of money based on moving their services from a different place to different place. Okay, so what is the reason is the licensing cost, the services it is going to use. So what happen is here in this cloud services, what happen is your parts are, so example, you want to build a car. Okay, what happens is they will give you all the parts to you and they will ask you to assemble for yourself. Okay, for assembling and understanding you need an engineers. But what these guys are doing is they are providing you an assembled product already. Okay, all you need to do is sit and drive. Okay, so that level of money, so training, understanding, or utilizing licensing cost and building and integrating all the services are going to be a very costly at the cloud services side. Okay, that's the reason. Else, you think that this all services would really survive in the market? Either you take an Informatica, Ab Initio, Fivetran, Snowflake, Databricks, or anything you can pick up. Okay, so I'm saying just to give an example. Do you think this guys can survive, or this stuff cannot be done in the clouds? This can be done in a cloud. Okay, the whole reason out of it is the cost behind it. The cost behind it and the cost it is taking for the engineers to integrate the services. Okay, integrate the services means the engineer should know how to write the code, from where to pick it. He has to install the servers. He has to have an EC2 instances. He has to look whether it is working fine or not. And no one will maintain it. You need a maintaining engineers. So this is still happening hiccups to the companies. So that's the reason they are going to be grabbing the technologies which is ready to use it. Okay, we call this called as a SaaS programs, which is a software as a service. Okay, this software is readily available for you to use it. Okay, so I'm just a bit deviated to this one to just show the reality. So opportunities are directly proportional to the capture of your market. Okay, integrations. Okay, so now you open a cheat sheet of your AWS and Azure. Okay, you go in market. The services which you see in AWS could be around some 180 to 200 plus will be there, but Azure might be providing somewhere in the 100 to 120. Okay, and okay, let me put the rough count: 200 to 120 to 150. Just put it at 150 also. Okay, you can compare this in your cheat sheets. Okay, go to Google, go to cheat sheet of AWS, cheat sheet of Azure. You can see how many services AWS and Azure is giving. So you will find plenty differences. Okay. Now, one more point I want to highlight. I'm saying AWS is in the market. Okay. Azure came later than AWS. Okay. So almost 80 to 90% of the services is being copied into either an Azure or copied into either an GCP. Is the base knowledge is being taken from the AWS only. Okay. How the particular service to be worked. S3 simple storage service is a world-changing. Okay, I would say that market it's been changed upside down when S3 came in. Okay, so from S3 only they have came up with a blob storage. They came up with a GCS buckets. Okay, the base of that knowledge is grabbed from an AWS only. Okay, so they had a hiccups. I don't say AWS is perfect in the market, that it was never been cracked by someone. Yes, there was been a data leaks also happened from an AWS, but they were the first guys who can able to fix it. Okay, they have a lot of, so as if I am the company, if I want to put a company, how can I think is who have a more experienced? Now simple, right? Now in this also I have a two guys I have picked up from an interview. Okay, so what I think my first question is, I have some work. How can I go? I go for the person who have more experience at that particular area. How can he easily resolve the problem? How fast he is going to complete that particular work? Okay, so I will think in the same perspective. Okay, when I think a company wants to go within a think that they want to go within some public cloud, how can they think? What is the thought process behind that choosing a public cloud? Okay, so this is where they do it. Okay, how many services I have? Tomorrow I have a different reporting tool needs to be done. Okay, yes, AWS have a QuickSight, Azure have a something else. Okay, which one is better? How many people are using this QuickSight? What are the options I'm going to get with QuickSight? Okay, like that I can think. Okay, so when you compare with AWS, this one is going to be 200 and 150 is out. So probably number might be slightly different, but definitely it's more. Okay, so encrypt security, right? Security perspective, AWS and Azure. Okay, so Azure, instead of we calling it as an Azure, it's been by a company called as a Microsoft. Microsoft have lot other tools, not only cloud, right? So lot other tools, which is called, you go to the SharePoint is Microsoft, Excel is Microsoft, Word document is Microsoft. You can go a lot many. Outlook is Microsoft. Teams, now Teams came in Microsoft. Okay, so security level, as per documents and as per Google, you can say AWS is more secure than Azure, they call it. But my perception of this one is Azure and AWS have a similar level of securities when they go into a public clouds. Okay, reason behind is AWS, Amazon is something, it wasn't a retailer, it was something like a company which came up in the 2000s. Okay, but Azure with Microsoft with the OS, Microsoft with the SharePoints, Microsoft with the MS-DOS or multiple things, these guys into IT market from a very long back, they know security better. Okay, I would call they know security better. So Amazon also, what happened, these guys are grabbed from a lot many years and they increased they adopted a lot of security natures. So either it is a key manager systems, so you go customer keys, or you go client visors keys, they have a different other set of keys. And AWS uses a rekeying mechanism. That's a big subject. Okay, that's a rekeying mechanism from period to period. That means time interval to time interval, it will supply some kinds of keys and make sure the data is not been able to read by any other people. Okay, so I would say security wise, both are same. Okay, if you ask me, so no, Krishna, you have only one option that you need to select, I would always lean towards an Azure. Okay, because the reason is, as I said, they are into the IT market. They know the customer base. They know the customers, what kind of data they are dealing with. Either it is health related or a personal related or financial related or anything it could be, right? So they know better, but AWS also provides in a similar fashion of multiple types of encryptions and securities. Okay, so types of encryptions. Okay, again, when it comes to here, there are different types of encryptions, which is called as a key manager systems. We will be calling the first key manager system. Okay, at least the terminology of a key manager system being introduced by an AWS, then the same thing being used in a GCP and in Azure also they are using it. Okay, so this is not a rocket science. There will be a one technology or the one logic they write in the backend of rekeying mechanisms. Once that logic is being written, the same thing will be used at different clouds. Okay, only the fashion. So what happens is, I'll just use a little words. Okay, hash mechanisms, MD5s, okay, SHA-256, okay, SHA-1. So there are multiple other mechanisms like this. So people will start using this kind of mechanisms in a backend. They make sure that the data is being encrypted. Okay, so I'll take a quick pass here to ask questions. Okay, and read out this ones. Okay. Can you share? Okay, I'm a full stack developer. Ashraf, I think we discussed this one. Yes, Ashraf. Data access security. Yes, Salman. Only secure authorized person should access the data. Any data leak might impact the business. Reduce latency. Does Azure work in Mac OS? So Azure works in Mac OS. So what is that? As Azure works in Mac OS. Soumya, right? Soumya, nothing, no cloud is going to work on your laptop. Okay, everything is in internet. All you need is either you use Mac OS or you use Windows or Linux or Ubuntu or whatever it is. Okay, so you are going to use only a Chrome or something and you will log in here. Everything is in a website over the internet. Okay, so you don't need your system. So I would say you can do it from your mobile also. Okay, so or else if your question is, can Azure servers can run on a Mac OS? Yes. Okay, AWS can run on a Mac OS. Azure, so let's call it as an EC2 instances or compute nodes, whatever. So I don't go more details. These are all we will learn when we go into the cloud. Okay, so compute nodes are something which is called as a servers. Okay, general term is called as a servers. Okay, this servers, while you installing the servers or while you provisioning this servers, you can select whatever the OS you want it. Okay, you want Ubuntu, you want a Red Hat, you want to have a Linux, or you want to have a Mac OS or Windows, whatever you think, it will work. This, they are provided everywhere. Okay, so yeah, let me take a quick look. Okay, cool. Yeah, so yeah, any questions, guys? I'll take a couple of seconds pass here. Am I making
for IoT devices,
okay,
to connect it to the cloud, which cloud is better?
So IoT, the Internet of Things, which cloud is better? I still say AWS Kinesis is better, but costly. Okay, performance wise, Kinesis is better, costly. If you ask me, PubSub is better. Okay, and what is a moderate rate also for this? Okay, so and here I think I don't really remember that name of this Azure one. Okay, this one also is going to be a little costly as per my knowledge. Okay, what I understand is this streaming also. This is streaming, right? IoT is nothing but a streaming. So your webcam keep running and it is storing the data. Okay, that means every second or couple of seconds, the data should be sending to your server and it has to be loaded somewhere. Okay, so in that case, as Kinesis is performantly better, okay, but costly. So we don't use, if you ask me, we never used a Kinesis, but we used a PubSub, which is good. Okay, this will be moderate in knowledge, moderate in the rate, and with PubSub, we have used a BigQuery, which helps you better in a cost perspective. Okay, but what happens is, again, you come to other things, right? Networking, latencies and all. So you won't find as great as possible of this AWS. Okay.
Cloud service bus, Krishna.
Oh, service bus, correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah, I was just missing that. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, IoT things, now you take a decision. Your company is okay. Now I want very good performance. Even it is a costly, I'm happy to put money on top of it. Go to AWS. This is very good. Okay. You know, you want little more better than GCP. It's okay. There will be a slight latencies, or it's okay. Then you go for Azure. Latency is not a matter for me. But so what is the best of the services, right? When you say IoT and this part services, your data is never going to be lost. IoT services, when you use this kind of streaming services, this is your data is never going to lose. But it's your company decision how fast you need the data. Okay, it's okay. There is some latency available, and I can republish the data. I can handle that latency. Cost is something is a matter for me. This data probably whoever using the data, right? Like a campaign teams or whoever telecaller teams are using this data, they can wait for some hours or one day, then go with PubSub, which is going to be help you a lot and it costs you less also. Now you take a decision. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Could you please explain how we will covering these concepts in projects? Okay. Hi, Krishna. As Azure came into market after AWS, when compared to service pricing, it would be lesser than AWS services. When compared to data processing using services, which cloud uses more service? And comparing to the data processing. Yeah, data processing. Yeah, first you're comparative to the Azure. So now what happened, right? To your question, I'll give you one more answer. What's this? So probably this question to everyone. Okay, Srinivas, right? So this question to everyone, right? So yes, AWS was there, the only guy, standalone guy. Okay, monopoly he has been done for at least 6-7 years. He says that I am the person only there in the market. So you have no chance, that no way you can go to the other cloud. Definitely you have to come to me. Okay. Then these guys came into the market, Azure and AWS, they shown their presence. And then what happened? AWS have no option to reduce their cost. Yeah, they have reduced their cost. S3 is one of the best to store the data right now when you compare to the Blob or when you compare to the GCS. Now, you believe or not, there are companies who stores the data in an S3 and do their processing in GCP and Azure. Okay, hybrid cloud. So you might be hearing the word called as in hybrid clouds. Okay, what a company is using hybrid cloud means they are using the storage somewhere in a one cloud. So example, AWS S3 is a definite one. Okay, comparing to the store of a Blob and comparing the storage of your GCP, GCS buckets, S3 is way less than that's both storages. Okay, so what companies are doing it? They store this data here. Okay, so now you want to do some transformations, ETL data processings and all. What they do is either they go to the Azure ADF or they go to the Dataflow or Dataproc, whatever it is. Okay, so they use this, and what they do is they will connect to the hybrid cloud of this S3. Okay, via hybrid VPNs and all, and they read this data. They do all the processing here, and then again they store the data back to the S3. Okay, they are going to save some money over here, not processing everything in an AWS Glue or storing this data into a Redshift or a DynamoDB. Or there are some companies processed data they will be loading into BigQuery. Okay, processed data, what they do is they will store it into BigQuery, which will be cost less you comparative towards Redshift or a DynamoDB or a Databricks over here or Synapses over here. Okay, this will cost you lesser than when you go into BigQuery. Okay, like this, right? These hybrid clouds are also working. Okay, so now only thing here it is, if you know one cloud, the functionality behind of the services are going to be same. Only thing is the UI will be changing. So if I say EC2 instances on a AWS, or when you say compute nodes on your GCP, are the same. I think inside this Azure also they called as a name virtual missions. Okay, so virtual missions, they used a different names, that's all. Okay, but the internally what they do is everything is same. Everything is to provision the servers. Okay, so there is nothing called they do some different other coding over there, nothing like that. Okay, just give me a second, guys. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, so where I was, I was saying, so they use a different names, that's all, but backend whatever they are going to do is literally same. Okay, so did I answer your question? Or yeah, sorry, not answered your question, right? So let me quickly, I'll pick this question. Okay, so what happens is, so AWS, you're saying they were being the same example, servers, onboarding the servers or provisioning the servers. Okay, onboarding or provisioning the servers. Okay, freshers, don't worry if you are not able to understand, we will go through these concepts again. So if you are able to understand what is a server, okay, just try to understand what I'm saying. Okay, so AWS servers, initially what happened is they had one type of servers, type 1, let's call it as a type 1 servers. What they have done is this type 1 servers are going to cost you $10, okay, per hour. Okay, per hour it is going to cost. Okay, then what happened is Azure also came in. Now I'm taking Azure example. GCP also came in with their own compute nodes. Okay, so what happened is they also introduced a servers. Okay, they call it as a type 1 virtual missions. Okay, so what they said is we are going to offer you for just $8 per hour. Okay, now what this AWS guy, smart guy, right? So what this guy has done is this type 1 he has divided into a different types of servers. Okay, what is this servers? Okay, on demand. Okay, he call it as reserved. Okay, spot instance. Okay, so now what he has done is he has separated this type 1 type of servers. What he says is, if you say on demand, okay, when you take an on demand, it is going to cost you $10. Okay, what is on demand, what is reserved, what is spot instances, something we will learn. Okay, I'll try to put as minimum as possible. On demand, now I'm demanding that I want to run my ETL process. I need some servers to be available for me. Okay. He's saying when you on demand, okay, I'll give you for $10. Okay. So what you do is you have some AWS work. You're projecting something like in future, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, for next 1 year, I have some work in AWS. So what you do is reserve some servers with me. Okay. If you reserve with me, what I'll do is I'll give you some discount. Okay. That discount is something 40% discount I'll give you. Okay. So what I'll do is if you reserve with me for next 1 year, that is, you are agreeing with me, you are getting an agreement with me saying that for next 1 year, I'm going to use AWS servers. So as you are giving me an agreement, I'll give you for $6 only. Okay. Then spot instances. Okay. I have some work now only for next. So I have some work. I have developed some ETL work. Okay. I just want to run it and test it, whether it is working fine or not. Okay. But my intention is I need one server to test it. If I'm not able to test at 7:35, I'm okay. This can be tested at 9 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, at tomorrow. I don't have any emergency in that. Okay. In that cases, AWS guy says that I have a spot instances. This will cost you only $5. Okay. But I don't give any guarantee to you. Okay. That the server is available by this time. Okay. Now choose your way. Okay. Which one you want to go ahead. Okay. So now if you see here to your question, Satya, I believe, right? So yeah, to your question, what happened is he is not reduced his instances. What he has done is he has divided these instances based on your requirement. You choose it and make it as a less money for you. Okay. And he says that reserved for a long term also, if you reserve it for 3 to 4 years, he will give you for only 50% discount. 50% discount he'll give you. That means you reserve it only for a $5 per year. Sorry, $5 per hour per whole year. How many years you are going to an agreement. Okay. This is how the cost is being reduced. Now your company will take, a company means your infrastructure team will take a decision saying that. So how it generally happens in a current project. So project is being projected. Then what will happen? Your infra team will land. Infra team will say that, okay, you will be explaining, this is my requirement. Your architects will be talking to your infra team saying that we are going to receive 100 million records per every hour. I need an infrastructure for it. Okay, they will tell that requirement to them. Okay, you need that data, right? What kind of infrastructure? What is it going to be a real time, or is it going to come as in intervals? It is going to come. Okay, if it is a real time, so probably we need to think about Kinesis or something where we have to onboard the infrastructure. Okay, or EC2 instances. If you think that this particular result, is it your system is going to be very important for the company to run, then let's run that process on a reserved instances because it's very important. There should be always, there will be availability, it should be there. So what we do is we will reserve something with an AWS and this will cost us also less for you. So we will give you the servers for you to run your project. Okay. No, they said that I have some work. I'm doing some POC. It's a proof of concept. This is not a real project. Something you're trying to prove that it can work. Okay. That can wait for some time. That proof can wait for some time that you can able to execute it. Okay. If that kind of works, your infra team says that it is not so important for us, right? So I'll give you the servers for you. Okay. You can onboard your instance, onboard your work on these instances and run your process. Okay. So like that, your company makes the decision and make sure that it is going to cost you less. Okay. So does that answer your question, Srinivas?
Okay. Yes, question.
Okay, fine. Yeah, when compared to second one, when compared to data processing using a services, which cloud uses more services? So 40% of market, AWS is still using more cloud services than any other one. Okay. So, and one more question is, so I'm not blaming Azure. So you can say Azure is also grabbing in the market. Okay. Azure is also grabbing in the market. So I would say not as equal as AWS, but yes, Azure is the second competitor in the cloud public clouds. Okay. So second, I would say it's gradually increasing adoption in the US markets right now, not in the UK. US markets, we can see that Azure is also gradually going. Okay, but AWS is something which will be already used. Okay, so now companies would be moving towards, you know, Azure to AWS, AWS to Azure, GCP to Azure. That transition will be always happening. Okay, yeah. Srinivas, I'm not going to cover the Databricks. So Databricks competitor is a Snowflake, right? So we are Databricks. So now again, go back to the experience perspective. Databricks is something very new from last 2 years, 2.5 years. It's not more than that. So Databricks also is being highlighted when it introduced the data lakehouse concept. Okay. So, and the way of the clusters that use job clusters and, you know, the 2 types of clusters it uses. All purpose clusters and the job clusters. That concepts has highlighted. So that's the reason we could see there is a little shine happening on the Databricks, but Snowflake can handle all that works. Okay. So Snowflake have a lot of experience, lot other tools, lot other integrations. Okay. And less in cost, easy to work, easy to integrate with the existing systems. You don't need to put more money and you don't need to stick to some cloud. Okay. So Snowflake can able to also connect to all the public clouds. Okay, easy manner than Databricks. Okay, so if you want to understand the Databricks, you should understand the, you know, Spark concept, how PySpark concept or a Spark concept, how the backend cluster works. That's little complication over there to understand. Okay, but yeah, Databricks is also grabbing. So as I said, right, it's a competitor for the Snowflake. Okay, so I have a set of questions. So what I'll do is I will take these questions and we will have a quick you know, oral questions, and then we will stop this session. Okay, and tomorrow we'll continue. Okay, do we follow real-time project use cases while doing hands-on end-to-end POC, practice the pieces we learn, just basic hands-on exercise? No, we will do end-to-end practices. So Ravi, and also, right, I'm saying for every, now it's a MySQL completed or a Snowflake completed or a Snowpark completed or AWS, each concept of AWS. Okay, so there will be a project at the end. Okay, so that project you guys has to submit and you have to come for a review. Okay, so we will do hands-on also. Every day we will be doing hands-on. Okay, so do we cover orchestration, scheduling, deployment of migrations of a data code between environments and versioning the code by Python code? Orchestration we will be doing, scheduling we will be doing, deployments we are not going to do it. So there is no DevOps work, I would say. DevOps we are not going to do it. So kind of like a deployment. How can you do what you can prepare for a deployment is something we will be understanding. Okay, because we are not going to maintain a different environments here, right? So this is a trying session. We are not really running a project session, right? So we won't be having something like a development environment, UAT environment, SIT environment, or production environment. We'll be having one environment. In that environment, we will be helping you. How can you create your deployment? You know, templates or what and all you will be creating. Okay, migration, no, we are not going to migrate. But if you think, if you are okay that saying that the data which resides in an AWS cloud, I want to migrate it into a Snowflake. Okay, if you think that way, yes, we are migrating the data from a cloud to you know, Snowflake. Okay, so and last one, also any overview of Agile methodology will be provided as part of the course. Yes, you will be getting a sessions on Agile. We will be covering Scrum, how Scrum works, how the Agile methodology works, and what is waterfall methodology also. And we will be covering Jira and Confluence. How can you create that? Okay, and finally, resume preparation and LinkedIn preparation also. Okay. Final question, are you going to cover MySQL for first 1 week or complete demos for the first 1 week? And then MySQL starts doing a SQL for over 10 years now. I want to start learning. Okay, yeah, MySQL is going to be for next 15 days. Okay. So people who are already having experience, if you want to skip it, it's totally fine. But it's, I would say, it's always SQL is a different perspective from a different person, I would say. Okay. Even I learn sometimes from a different people that they could able to do it in a different ways. Okay. I would say stick to the MySQL also. Your experience also helps others. You can ask a different questions. Your experience you can share. You know, we will be learning a triggers. We will be running a stored procedure. We will be running a views. We will be running a different kinds of constraints, virtual columns. So this and all we will be learning as part of the MySQL. So MySQL, the overall timeline, it's going to finish by December somewhere 20th or 15th. Okay, including your submissions and project we will be submitting to you guys, and you have to complete the sessions by the time Snowflake will start. Okay, then we will have a workshop session on that project we're going to provide on a MySQL, and we will be talking about it, how you have implemented it. Okay, so Snowflake probably third week of December it will start. Okay, Syed, mock interviews. Yes, Syed, mock interviews. We take mock interviews, and we do have a product with us. Okay, so we are very early. We are going to release this into a market. Okay, we will going to evaluate everyone, the mock interviews by using an AI. Okay, we created a product called as a self-interviewer with the AI avatars. Okay, all you need to do is know one person. Virtually, there will be a one person. You have to start interviews, and that interviews will be posting to us, and we will be evaluating that. And also, just I'm revealing freshers, right? Fresh who are already working is fine. Freshers, based on that interviews and your assignment submissions, and if you are really good at the technologies, what we learn, so we will show an opportunity internally also. So just I'm saying that freshers who are there internally also will show. We'll give you projects to work on, and based on your performance, there are salaries also will be paid. Okay, it's all like if you passed our mock interviews and our interview sessions and everything. Okay, so people who are already into the market, into the companies, they're totally fine. For freshers, so we want to design in a way they could able to put the projects what they are going to do after the training, and they also earn the salary after completing the sessions, trainings. But it all happens when you are really learned and you presented well and you completed your assignment. Okay, yeah. So I'll quickly take the questions. Thank you. Do we need a Git? Yes, Saeed, we need a Git. Okay, you have to push that. Okay, and also, right, once you guys paid, you will get a MS Teams email address will be created for everyone, only for the paid peoples. Okay, so and there will be a group created in that. In that group, we will be sharing files and everything, and you will be having these files in your wherever you logged into your website, right? There also you will find this all documentation and everything. And MS Teams also will be created for everyone. Okay, in the Teams we will be sharing emails and every day-to-day tasks, and WhatsApp also will be created to ask any questions, intermediate questions. Okay, and Git also, yes, we need to create a Git, Sai. We want to store the code you are going to code in class and out of class. You have to save it in your Git. So you have to share your Git links with your assignment session so that we will able to log into your Git and see the code. Okay, I am fresher, Syed. Fine, fresher. It's okay, Syed. Okay, we will learn from scratch. Session timings, please. 6:30 in the morning. It starts. It will go for in a 1 hour 15 minutes to 1 hour 30 minutes. Okay, Syed, we will get the class videos. Yes, we will get the class videos. Sumant, hi Krishna, how about AWS DBT Snowflake accounts as a trial will be only up to month or 15 days? Yes, we want to go with the trial versions. Okay, so we don't want to burn your data. So what we do is whatever the code we are doing as part of AWS DBT and Snowflake, we will save it in a Git. Git is going to be forever for you. Okay, so once your trial account is being expired, all you need to do is you have to create another trial account and use your Git code, whatever is there, and reiterate your work in the Snowflake area, wherever it is. Okay, so I don't want anyone to spend more money on this one. Okay, hi Krishna, Monday to Friday, right? Yes, Monday to Friday. Bharat, I have 7 years experience in semiconductor service testing. Okay, Bharat, that's fine, Bharat. If you want to switch your career, okay, towards into a data and IT sector, it's a good place to have it. Okay, Bharat. But semiconductor is also an interesting area, just to add it, because I am from that background. Chetan, hi Krishna, course fees. Chetan, it's 27K. Okay, the course fees right now. Okay, you can talk to our admins. They will guide you that how to pay and how you can able to do it. Yeah, I would like to hear directly instead of a questions. I think I'm stopped explaining anything. You can ask any questions.
Krishna, do we have a course curriculum, any document? I tried in the website, but I think it's not downloadable.
Oh, is it? Yeah. It's not downloadable, you mean?
I mean, it said PDF, but I'm not able to click on anything there. In the course browser, or
yeah. It's a post browser is there. Browser we release every time. Not sure. I'm really sorry for that inconvenience. Okay, let me talk to my admin team, and they will send it across to everyone. Okay, so that you can see. And also we asked to join the Telegram link. Okay, in the Telegram link also we'll post it in there.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, hi Krishna.
Yes.
guys will help for the certification?
Yeah, 3 types of certifications it will help. Okay. So let me, that's one point I need to highlight. Okay. I just missed it. So Snowflake Prospective, Snowflake University, which is called a Snowflake company, provides you a free certifications, which is called as a badges. Okay. So it provides a 4 badges. You will be ready to do it. Okay. Do it while we learning Snowflake itself. Okay. And finally, you will, after our course, you will be ready to can give a Snow Pro certification, which is a paid one. Okay. You will get, this is a paid one. If you are interested, so okay, Snow Pro. If you are interested, you can pay by yourself and you can do it. I don't suggest to do that one. I say if you're already working in a company, okay, you can ask your company to pay for it. The freshers, what you can do, freshers and everyone, right? What you can do is you can complete these 4 badges and have it on your resumes and your LinkedIn profiles. Okay. This costs you almost, 18K to 20K for you. Okay. If you are interested, you can do it. Okay. But I don't suggest to freshers to spend unnecessary money over here. Okay. So on a Snowflake Prospective, you can able to complete all the certifications. AWS, when you come to AWS Associative Engineer, you can able to complete. Okay. With the knowledge and the topics we're going to cover. So you will be ready to give an AWS Associative Engineer. Only thing I would always suggest is go little theoretical knowledge. Theoretically, we will talk about this. Okay. But you might need to deep dive little more for this certificate theoretically and practice the previous question papers. Okay. Previous question papers. So something, this subject will not look new to you because we are learning it already. Okay. So with that extra efforts, you could able to complete the AWS Associate Engineer certification. Again, paid, which cost you $200, probably 20K to 30K it cost you. Okay. So if you want to put on your own money, do it. No, if no, wait for your company to pay for it. Okay. So finally, DBT. So DBT also provides almost four badges, free badges. Okay. This free badges doesn't mean that this just created that no one knows about it. This is famous badges. Okay. In Snowflake or in a DBT, this has a value. That is something you are going to complete a project that DBT is going to provide. Okay. So example, like they have a fundamentals. Okay. Snapshots, macros, plus Zinza. Okay. So, and one more is there. I'm really not sure. I'm not remembering that name. Okay. So this all certifications, you will be ready after a session to complete these badges. And what we expect is after, we are closing, right? After closing our sessions within a week or 2 weeks, you should be able to have this everything on your LinkedIns and resumes. Okay. Paid versions, I leave it. Paid versions, I leave it. The free ones, you should complete it and you should have it in a freshers. It is mandatory. If you are freshers who are coming from the placement cell and for mock interviews, right? The first question we'll ask you is, did you completed this and is it ready for you to put it on your LinkedIn? Okay. Soumya or someone you ask question is that fine? After 1 week free class, we can move to team. Yes, Syed, after 1 week, we will be opening a new window. In that window, we will add all the paid persons and you will be getting it. Okay. For free classes, it still will be there. Guys who don't join, right? Still will be there and you will be seeing this particular videos. Okay. We will be helping out in the future also. Okay. Is there a daily dial-in number? Ravi, we will be rolling out these Zoom sessions. I'm really not sure why you are getting this problem. We will deal with this, not a problem. Okay. What is the job placement? So job placement, if you're trying outside, you will be ready here. We will be running a mock interviews. We will be helping out with the resumes. We'll be helping out with the LinkedIns and everything. Salman, so you will be ready to give an interviews outside. Okay. And one job placement I have mentioned, right? So that is something which goes an explicit of, if we see you are really performing very well and you cracked our interview, okay, then we will take internally also. We will assign a projects. We do have an internal project, so we will assign a projects. Okay. This course duration, please. This goes to the end of the March, Sai. So probably it goes more of 4 months course. Okay, in detail of learning. End of the March or probably mid of the March, we'll be completing it. Any other questions?
Yeah. Hi, Krishna. Yes. So you about Snowflake and AWS Associate Engineering certification, then what about the AWS certification, data engineer, AWS data engineer certification?
Associate to data engineer only, I said. So you are saying
Okay.
you want to go within a data engineer, direct data engineer, not an associate. Associate is the entry level.
Okay.
Okay, I would say go to the entry level. If you can go to the data engineering also, you will understand the concepts. Okay, but they go very deep dive of understanding architecting things, think that how you do this diagnosis of a performance. So that way I go. If you could able to give associate and you completed that one, you should enhance your knowledge from that point of time. Okay, and go and do it. It's not like you trained it and directly you can crack the data engineer or ML or something, right? So you go step by step. Even if you take me, we went from this stage to architect levels. Okay, did I answer your question, Vishaka, right? Vishaka, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which countries have more openings in Snowflake, better prospects other than India? So Snowflake, US, UK, you see that London Stock Exchange, I think people who would have been known, right? London Stock Exchange is using Snowflake like anything now. Okay. London Stock Exchange, British Telecom is using, UK, US, lot of companies are using. You can go to LinkedIn, select a US company and search for a Snowflake developer or just a Snowflake, right? You will find a lot of opportunities. In India, you have a plenty of opportunities. Okay. I'm not sure Mahesh is there on the call or not. Yeah. So our previous batch people, right at the time, right? So we are into November. Okay. We won't find any opportunity. Right now, there won't be any hiring happens. Okay. So hiring would freeze from November 20th to January from somewhere in the second week. But still we could see the previous batch people are getting a requirements for a Snowflake with DBT and AWS. Okay. Yesterday also we've been talking to a couple of guys and we also surprised that requirements are freezed, but still there are a lot of interviews are going. So he got straight next 3 days for L&T. He had a call with Intellect company and LTA. He's having LTA and TCS. So he's getting everyday opportunities for a lot of folks. So we are also a little surprised that for Snowflake, it is grabbing, not only Snowflake. So guys, don't get into perceptions. This course is not only Snowflake. Okay. So Snowflake is one of the tech stack in this. Okay. One of the tech, only one tech in this group. Okay. So when in their interviews also, sometimes it is Snowflake, TBT, Snowflake, AWS, Snowflake, only Snowflake with SQL also they are went to interviews. Okay. Yeah. I hope I answered everyone's question. What is hybrid cloud means? Hybrid cloud means different clouds. So a company is using both Azure and AWS. Difference between hybrid cloud and this cloud, it's same only, Salman. So hybrid cloud means if a company is using two clouds, Azure and GCP and AWS, that's called a hybrid. Okay. Our hybrid cloud means local on-premise with AWS and a co-location. So there is a co-locations. There are different things. Okay. Hybrid is nothing but their data is being shared between different other places. Okay. So don't worry about it. After this training, we complete the project. How many years we can quote in resume? So you can find an opportunities with the tech stack with a 2 years experience. Or there are people with 1 year experience also with a Snowflake, and they have jumped into a different companies with a 1 year experience. Okay. 2 years experience is also fine with this tech stack. Okay. No, it's now I would again say that this is person to person individual concepts, right? So now I am very perfect at this one. Now I will put a 5 years of experience. Okay. I can justify this 5 years and I need a salary of a 20 lakh or 30 lakh somewhere or 18 lakhs or 15 lakhs somewhere. Then based on that, your ideology, you will go with an experience, I would say. But if you ask me, Krishna, from what level of experience we'll find opportunities, with 2 years also we'll find an opportunities. Yesterday, as I said, right, that guy he worked 1 year into management and 1.3 years he has kept an experience. His total experience in management for 2.3 years. 1 year he put in management, he trained from our side, and he put 1.3 in a Snowflake with an AWS experience, and he got plenty of opportunities. Okay. People with 9+ of years experience, yes, you will find it. Yes, you will find you have great scope with this 9+ years of experience, Sai. Okay. what difference?
I have a question here. So, is it as a developer we have to push in, or you still can go as an architect level?
I would suggest senior lead. Okay, till senior lead you can go. I don't call architect level. You can code for an architect level. Okay, if you do a little, if you want to become an architect, you should know whatever you are learning right now. Okay, so if you put little more extra of architecting, means you want to understand a bit of networking and governance and compliance also. Okay, if you want to work out that explicitly and I want to code for an architect, yes, you can go ahead.
So I mean, are you exclusively covering, not as part of this course, but are you exclusively covering all that as well?
We generally don't do that architect level compliance and this one. So because architects are something which you need to do end-to-end project, right? End-to-end project of not development, capturing requirement, okay, turning up into a networking, connecting different systems with security, compliance and governance. Compliance and governance means security, like GDPR rules, or we have TRI, right? Like if you have a telecom data, TRI. So all these kinds of things, you have to do it. FDD, HDD, LDDs, you should be ready creating a design documents. So if you do that kind of work by learning these concepts, okay, these concepts are mandatory. I'm saying these concepts are mandatory. If you want to turn your career into architect level, you should know a little more of that architecting things.
Okay.
Okay. But I am frankly saying learning this directly and you want to go for an architect, no. Okay, they will definitely ask you saying that how you have implemented that security things. What is your compliance? What are the systems you integrated? While you integrating into this ones, what are all the TLSs you have been integrated? Okay, they will ask that kind of questions. There you will catch. So either you are a senior lead or you are an architect level.
Got it. So the profile for it will go in a different way. It is not covered as part of the sessions or in this trainings, and you're not covering as well.
Exactly. So yeah, we are not covering architect level because architect needs some other knowledge, which is like a designing knowledge also you should understand, networking and a designing knowledge. Okay. That's in a very high level, I would say.
Okay. Maybe once we complete this, if required, asked for, can we have a set?
Yeah, we will help you. Say, if you want to really pursue that side of nature and you are interested, we will definitely supply you all the materials and we will guide you that how can you do the better, and we will get you interacted with the people who are already working in that role and they will guide you. But that's all going to be your self-learnings.
Yeah, that's fine. At least the guide and how do we do it and how is that the process? Maybe not a part of this, but people who are inquisitive and going in that level.
Yeah, definitely. We don't never suppress the aspirations here. So we are always open, we guide you. If we are not able to fulfill that, definitely we will navigate and point to the people who can guide you.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
No worries. Yeah. How many students placed by KSR till now? How many students are placed in your last batch? So in last batch, we had an experienced people, a lot of experienced people from USA and from local also, where their companies have started moving into an AWS Snowflake. We don't had a Python and all last time. It was explicit Snowflake with AWS. Their companies are moving towards a Snowflake and they want to sustain in the projects. Okay. So those kind of people, we had more people and they could able to sustain and they could able to run that. And they standed out in their teams that they have a more knowledge than the other people. Okay. That kind of candidates. Yes, we do have a freshers and we had a people who are being placed in a different companies. So some are working already and some are still finding, they have given interviews, they are practicing because of they are already working and they are finding, they're giving interviews. They are trying for a different other opportunities. Yes, there are people placed. So I would say if you take 10 people are there freshers in that one. So we had in a 6 people to 5 people are already placed and some people are already finding and working in a different projects. Okay. Did I answer your question, Sunil? Syed, sorry. Yeah, Syed. Okay, guys. Any other questions? Last couple of questions. Rest we will pick up tomorrow.
Krishna, as you said, right? So for the experienced guys, I think there are people around 13 years, 9 years, and other guys who are aspiring to become the architects, right? Can we? So how would be the career growth if we switch to here? So is it the architect and next, like we can try, as you said, we can try for the lead level, right? After that, it would be architect, and how would the market, especially for the experienced guys?
So architects, yeah, architects, when you go into an architects, right? So when you call, so I'm an architect, okay? So I worked as an architect for 5 years, okay? So architect, so to be frank, right? So I don't know really if you have been Googled about architect or not. Architect means not only this technologies, you should know more technologies.
Right.
Okay, yeah. So as I'm saying, if I am becoming an architect where I'm using this technologies means I should know these technologies, what the features and how it is working. Okay, without that, I can't become an architect because something which I don't know, I cannot design something, right? So this was my first step of understanding to become an architect. Okay, more on this one, I should know more about compliance and architecture design patterns. And when you go into what are the documents you will be creating inside the documents, what the design patterns and why you choose that particular architect design, that how it is going to be an optimized way than other solution. Okay, in an architect level also, tools also, right? Now I am using a Snowflake, I should able to justify that the why we need to use a Snowflake. Okay, so you should be in that particular level to become an architect. Okay, so I would say you can become an architect by learning this, okay, with an extra efforts, but you cannot become an architect by not knowing this. Does that make sense? Did I put it as a hypothetical way?
No. That's not good. But how is the market for the experienced people if you are moving at now?
Yeah. Architects always there. Yeah, architects always there, right? Without architect is the first point of project.
Yeah. So for the experienced people, right now we are trying to transition from the developers or testing background or management background and into the data science field, right? So freshers, I think, in a 2 years experience or freshers, I think the market will anyways be open for them. But especially from experienced guys nearing around 10 years or 10 plus years experience, is the market like open for them, or how is it?
Yeah, there is a great opportunity. There is in a market, good market also for this one. Okay, but only thing is, I would say you have a 10 years of experience in PL SQL and from 1 year experience of a Snowflake. Now I want to become an architect. It's not way. How we need to project for this one is something like I was into this technical stack from last 5 years. Okay, been as an elite and designer. Okay, designer nothing but an architect. Okay, designer and being integrated this many systems. If you can project like that, definitely you have a great opportunities. Okay, it's not like I was into a different technology and moved into this from last 1 year. Probably it will be a tougher times. Okay.
Yeah, understood. Yep. Thanks.
So projection is the very much important, I would call here. Okay. So nowadays I'm saying, right, leads, architects comes when there is a work from a scratch. That is like there is a big project coming up. Okay. That project is something like there is nothing about it. It's a new project which is going to turn up your landscape, total landscape. This is place the architects comes. Okay. So nowadays leads and senior leads, right? They become the designers. Okay. These guys will design. If a new system, there is a project already there. There is a new system coming. We want to integrate that new system with a project, existing data or existing project. In that scenarios, leads, what they do is they will talk to architects. They will take all their suggestions and they will only designing it. So that's how the companies are working now. Okay. So you can fit it in a designer roles perfectly with this learning. This one, you can definitely fit in a designer roles. Architect roles, as I said, you have to put some little extra effects. Okay. So did I answer your question? So how many projects we'll do? Yep. For every technology, we'll have a project at the end. Okay. We will be submitting the project details in a document and you will be coding end to end and you will be submitting that assignments. Any other questions? Last question. I think we crossed already 10 minutes. Any questions, guys? Did you guys follow me or any feedback to me in the first class? You are expecting? Yeah, sorry, please go ahead.
Just want to know that for Python, are you teaching at what level you will be teaching the Python, from the basics, or you will be teaching at an advanced level?
Intermediate. From basics to intermediate, we'll learn.
Okay.
Processing, data processing level. Till data processing level, we'll learn. Okay. And using Python, Visual Studio, we will be connecting to a Snowflake, we will be connecting to a AWS, we will be doing all that activities also. when this recording will be posted. It automatically posted, Salman. After this meeting is completed, you will see that that will be already stored in your website. You can able to log in, register with us, and you can see. Python is mentioned. You can see at the bottom side, PySpark is not there, okay? PySpark is something architecture will cover, because I want you to understand when you go into, when you are doing a PySpark data frame models, right? RDD concepts and all, architecture, we will be helping you out to understand how it works, and we will implement that knowledge on a Snowpark. Okay? Python, you will be seeing on the browser. Probably, Syed, I think it's what's happening is the old browser is getting rolled out everywhere. Okay, there is a new browser is available. As I said, right, Python and Snowpark was not part of the previous batches. We have added for this batch because there is a demand in the market. Okay, there is a demand and a lot of opportunities, and people are also evolving their technologies, right? So that's the reason we added from this batch. Okay, so just pardon me for some time. Let me talk to my admins. They will roll out the latest brochure. Okay, we have prepared that will be available, so they will roll it out. Okay. I was saying something previously and I missed that point. Okay, yeah. Any feedback to me? Any feedback to me that this is what you're expecting? Not technically, from a mental perspective, mentor or a coach or whatever you can call me, okay? Or you can call me Krishna also. Okay, Krishna's perspective. So what exactly you are expecting? Are you guys able to follow me? Or you want me to go little slow? I know freshers, I have seen, right? So I already been with 8-9 batches. I have seen mixed of people. So some people, if I say server, they don't know server also. Okay, so at that point in time, I have to go very deep of making that what is server to make them understand. Okay, for experienced people, that might look little boring and clumsy stuff. Okay, because they know things. Okay, sometimes I have to go that deep of understanding. Okay, yes, let me know if there is any feedback. Okay. If you are hesitating to tell me that, you can tell my admins also. Oh, it's good for me. Thanks, Salman. Okay. If you are hesitating to tell me directly also, don't worry, guys. Don't hesitate. You paid and we are teaching, and our aim also, you want to learn things. Okay. If you are really, my admin team and my telecaller team also will reach out to you individually, and they will ask you for a feedback. Okay. Genuinely go for a feedback. We will definitely improve ourselves. Okay, if really you are not getting through something and you need more and more detail something, we will try to provide additional supplies and we will try to make you understand things. Okay, so okay, with that note for today, we'll wrap it up unless someone have something to say.
Krishna, this is AWS or main focus on the Snowflakes?
AWS main focus is, it's a cloud data engineering. So for some cloud, it's like 3 public clouds are famous, right? To name it, we have named it as an AWS. Okay, it's a more of a cloud data engineering, you can call.
Krishna, I have a small question.
What is that? Sorry.
What services are we are using in AWS here? What services are going to be covered here?
So what services we cover is starting from an S3, Athena, Lambda, CloudWatch logs, cloud monitorings, AWS Glue, AWS EMR, DynamoDB, Redshift. What else is there? Step functions. Yeah, like that we will cover. There are a few more I might have missed. Yeah, this all will cover. More of data levels. Okay, how data we can deal. And what
Krishna,
you do to go to data engineering. Yeah.
In last class, you said the PySpark will be covered.
So yeah, PySpark architecture wise, so teaching architecture we will be covering. Okay, this PySpark, if you know PySpark, anybody know, there is a data frames we'll use in a PySpark.
Yeah, I know PySpark. Yes.
Yeah, you know PySpark, right? Data frames we'll use, right? So in that PySpark data frame, we will be learning in a Snowpark. Okay, that code we will be writing, whole data frame coding we will be doing on a Snowpark. Okay. It's not like we will be having our own clusters created and we will be learning a PySpark from end to end of installing everything. So why I mentioned the PySpark is that PySpark architecture knowledge and how the data frame knowledge will work. That particular knowledge we will be implementing on a Snowpark.
Which detailed syllabus is not mentioned. How many topics will be covered by PySpark? Python is not mentioned in their brochure.
Did you get the latest browser?
No, I didn't get.
Yeah, that's what I said, right? So just give me some time.
I asked your team 10 times, send me a detailed brochure.
Whom you have asked?
Topic. I don't know the name.
Can you get the names, please? Yeah. Can you get the names, or what you can do is you have seen the email, right? You know, you have the email.
No, on WhatsApp.
So yeah, I don't think so. I don't know if really there is in a WhatsApp. So don't worry. What you do is drop an email, and if they are still not replying to you, okay, bring up that to tomorrow class. So you can show it up our class. I will talk to that admins. Meanwhile, I think I'm going to talk to my admins right now. So somehow we uploaded it, but still the old brochure is going on.
Again and again, old brochure is they are sending to me.
Oh, is it? So you are not seeing any Python or anything in that?
Okay. Yes.
Oh, Python you're not seeing in that?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So I'm probably, still that old one is getting rolled out. Probably these guys, right, telecallers will have that old one. So we will talk to them. I will share that one. Okay, don't worry. So I'll share that. You can have a look and take decision. Not a problem.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. If something is team is not much responsive, Sunil. Yeah. So Sunil, bring up these things into sessions. Okay. How really you have been contacted. Ideally, our admin teams are proactive. They will be reaching out to everyone. But definitely, I'll raise this point. Okay. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. I would suggest drop an emails also. Okay. That will be a little more convenient way that they will be checking. Okay. So we will be we will be flooded with emails and questions, right? So there and here we would have been missed, but definitely we will be, supplying that information. Yeah, definitely. Yes. Okay. And then with that note, then we can wrap it up for today. Have the rest of the day good, and we'll catch up tomorrow at 6:30 Indian time. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Thank you then. Yeah. Thank you so much.